Welcome to another episode of How Do I, where I reveal my unconventional and sometimes wacky recording and production techniques. Today I'm going to be talking about something I did with a bass guitar on a song I've been working on. It's kind of cool. Check it out. This song is called Ganja Row. It's by a good friend of mine named Pistol Hill. Normally when I record Pistol, we do the whole band together. Everybody's playing together live. I just like the vibe. I like the interaction with the musicians. But because of COVID and the quarantine, we had to do all these separately. We started out, first off, with just scratch vocal, scratch guitar, and a click track like this. Down Ganja Road, they're still waiting for the vote. So then we added drums. Even the prison God knows. I had Dave Anthony play the drums on this. And then I needed to get the bass done, so I sent the parts out to the great Robby Handley, one of my favorite bass players around. I play bass myself, but Robby's the man. He recorded his parts at his home studio using his vintage Fender Precision bass. This is what he sent me. I liked what he did. It's actually not what I expected him to play and not what I would normally ask for because it's kind of busy and all that, but it was just really cool, man. It's just an amazing vibe that I hadn't anticipated, and it kind of took the song in another direction, but I had a couple changes I wanted him to do. I wanted him to hit on these sections of the chorus right here and do a couple other things, but I wanted everything else to stay the same. The other thing I wanted him to actually use a different bass. I didn't mind the sound of the Precision, but he's got this hollow body Hagstrom that he's used before on sessions with me. I just love, man. So I said, hey, man, can you do everything else the same, but make these changes here and use your Hagstrom bass? He's like, cool. So he sent me back what he had done, and this is it right here. Now, I liked what he did. He did everything that I requested, but there were just some things from that first take that I wasn't hearing. He had done some kind of unconventional things that were just super loose and just very relaxed and kind of flowy. I don't know how to describe it. It was just really amazing stuff. And I didn't know how to explain to him how to go back where these parts were because they were just scattered throughout the song, all these little special things. So I thought I'll just do a quick edit between the two basses so I can send it back to him and show him what I was talking about. So I did this. I went through and found my favorite parts from each take and cut them up. And yes, if you're wondering, I actually can edit this fast, and sometimes to save time, I actually edit at high speed. Just kidding, actually. And I ended up with this. Definitely some differences in tone. There was also something I wanted him to do on the first verse that was a variation on what he'd done on the second verse, and once again, I didn't know how to explain it, so I figured I'd show him by learning his bass part and making those changes. It wasn't easy. And this is what I ended up with. So after I got done editing all that, I was listening back to it and I was like, wow, that sounds kind of cool. Do I really need to have him redo it? Can I just use this somehow? Because it's like we got a really old school P bass with 300-year-old strings on it. We've got a modern hollow body Hagstrom and of course my hot rodded American Precision bass, and they sound kind of different. I wonder if I can match up the sound and just use this. So I gave it a shot. This is what I did right here. First off, I ended up going to an old standby, the plain old Bomb Factory Fairchild 660. It's not a cool plug-in, but man, I use this thing on the bass all the time. It just kind of helps level it out, makes the bass pop a little bit, it has a little grind in it, a little grit. Next, I needed to match up the EQ on all three basses. I really like the FabFilter Pro Q3 for this sort of thing, especially the dynamic EQ for controlling basses, because some notes will resonate more depending on which string you're on and where you're at on the neck. The vintage P-Bass had the oldest strings on it, so it had less overtones, but it also had less boom. So you can see right here I'm using the dynamic EQ to boost that, while on the other basses, I'm cutting a lot of frequencies. Robby's P-Bass didn't quite have the growl that the other basses did, so I just pulled up the built-in Pro Tools Lo-Fi plugin. A little touch of distortion from this plugin goes a long way. I actually use this thing all the time. So now I've got to find a way to glue these tracks together, and I can do that by creating an auxiliary return and running all the tracks through this same return and treating them as a whole. Now, one of the first things I got to deal with is the fact that there were some volume differences between some of the basses. One of them popped a little bit more and one is a little bit smoother, so I'm going to put a limiter on here to kind of take care of that. And then I added an EQ to the bass bus to take care of a few more frequencies that needed some taming. I was getting a little extra boom at 65.4 hertz every once in a while, mostly from the Hags drum, so I automated that dynamic EQ to turn off and on when I needed it. And after that, this is a matter of blending it in, a little volume automation, and I was done. And that's how it did the bass on this song. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button and come back for more. As for me, I am done for the day. Thank God. Woohoo!